Okay, a lot of you seem to not understand, so I'm going to go over everything in YouTube analytics that you need to know to be able to get the maximum views, the maximum amount of money, and actually improve over time on YouTube rather than just going stagnant. Now, for some quick credentials here, I have my two YouTube Shorts automation channels, which you guys know about. One is 150k subs, and the other one has 72,000 subscribers. And together, those have made around $40,000 to $50,000 in revenue if you include music royalties, which is just a way that you can make extra money by adding music to your shorts. So when you combine ad revenue with the amount we've made from music royalties, it's over 40k. On top of that, I've basically also paved a career for myself as a YouTuber. I started with posting juggling videos, and this grew my following to 105,000 subscribers. Then I posted professionally made videos on this channel called Money Mind News, and here's the analytics that have gone along with those two channels. And then finally, I have the channel that you're watching right now, which is basically just the unfiltered version of Money Mind News, and here are the analytics there. So let's go through how to actually properly read your YouTube analytics, starting with how you do it on each specific video. So to start, I'll look at one of the 12 million view videos that I got on my YouTube Shorts automation channel, and then we'll go to analytics. And the main two things that you should look at are one, the swipe away rate, which you can see up here, and number two, the retention rate, which you can see right here. The swipe away rate basically refers to the percentage of people that swipe away after a couple seconds. So a 40% swipe away rate means that 40% of people were not hooked by the video, and that's an indication to you of how good your hook was. You want to try to have a low swipe away rate, and that's done by making a good first 3 seconds of your video, which is the hook. So in this video, our hook started out with "I accidentally raised a crocodile," which is just such a crazy thing to even say and so hard to believe that a lot of people stuck around and watched, and this led to 60% of people not swiping away. Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask, well, my swipe away rate was higher than that and I didn't get 12 million views, so what's going on? It's not like if you just get above a certain swipe away rate, you're guaranteed to go viral. This is just a metric that you can use to improve your videos. Think about it like this. YouTube is always trying to recommend videos that it thinks people will like to people. So if we make an animal video and it has a higher percentage of people that stay to watch it than any of the other animal videos, YouTube will probably deduce that we should recommend this video to more people on YouTube that like animals. So it's not just about having a low swipe away rate, it's about how the swipe away rate combines with interest that people have and other factors within the video. The second most important stat that you basically have to focus on is your retention rate. And this basically shows what percent of people are still watching at any given point in the videos. So with this video right here, 56% of people watched all the way till the very end. That's a great sign. And if we look at the curve, we can see it's pretty flat. I mean, if we held them to 30 seconds into the video, almost everyone stayed all the way till the end in the following 30 seconds. So that means our video had a pretty good retention rate and the curve is pretty flat. And that's what you're trying to do. You're essentially trying to lower the drop off that you have and completely flatten the curve. You can do this by telling a better story and actually having a payoff that isn't revealed until the end of the video. Then people will actually want to stick around and watch all the way to the end of the video, which gives you a higher retention rate. Now, one of the biggest reasons that this is an important metric is because of how social media platforms work. So the goal of every social media platform is to keep you on the platform for longer so that they can run more ads and make more money themselves for the advertisers that pay to run on their sites. So if you can help YouTube with their goal of keeping people on the platform, they're going to reward you for that by pushing your video out to more people. But again, I do want you guys to understand that it's not just about getting a high retention rate. It's more about how you can improve your retention rate over time and how you could use the data on your retention to see where dips are, to see how you can make your videos better in the future. Again, it's not like if you just get a 60% retention rate, you're guaranteed to go viral. It's more like one indicator that helps going viral, but isn't the be all end all. So just to show you how I would do this practically, I've been uploading shorts on Money Mind Unfiltered recently. And in one of the shorts that I recorded, which was about why to be transparent, we can see that after those first 5 seconds right here, there was a very quick drop off, which lets me know, okay, when I'm making this video next time, maybe I need to cut out a part here or change the sentences to actually make this a little bit less boring. And to confirm, let's see what I said in this actual short. A lot of people think telling other people how much money you make is a bad idea, but here's why they couldn't be more wrong. So that seems like a strong hook, got 67% of people to stay to watch, but then a big portion of people dropped off right here. So let's see what happened. This is coming from videos that I make that get 12,000 views of me showing my exact revenue, expenses, and net worth. Okay, so that's just boring, and that's pretty obvious to me why there was drop off. It took me like 8 seconds to say that I posted a video and it got 12K views on this, and that's not even relevant to the point that I'm trying to make, which is why you should tell people your income. So I did just make this as a casual video, but this shows bad storytelling, and that's reflected in the retention rate, which I can now work on and try to improve next time. I set up an expectation, which is here's why you should be transparent, and then instead of just instantly delivering on it, I went on a yap on how I posted a video in the past, like bros blabbering on, and now people already swiped away. So practically speaking, that's how you should look at retention rate and understand and improve on your videos. Next, we have another factor which is important when it comes to how much money you make, and it's actually under the audience tab. So with YouTube Shorts, the only thing that actually affects your RPM is the geographical location of your audience. So it actually has nothing to do with the niche that you're talking about, the length of your video. Again, the only factor that affects anything is the country that your views are from. So I'll go to this video right here, and under revenue, we can see that we made 19 cents per 1,000 views that we got. And so we could try to understand how that works by looking under audience. We can see under audience here that United States made up 55% of the viewership, and the rest of the viewership was still mostly made up by higher income countries, which means that we were able to get a very high RPM on this video. But on a video that got a lower RPM, like this one got a 15 cent RPM, we can see that the audience here was only 40% from the United States instead of 55%. And so the more that you can get just in the United States, the higher your RPM will be and the more you'll make per 1,000 views. So this is another important stat to look at, especially when you're making YouTube Shorts, because the more US people, the more money you can make. And this is basically done by making videos that target a US audience. So either making your videos in English, something that only people in the US would really be able to understand, or also making references to US cultural things. So referencing US pop stars, or referencing the history of the United States, or referencing Donald Trump. A lot of these things will attract a more United States audience, and that will increase your RPM. Now the difference can be really high, like a fully Indian audience will be closer to like a 2-cent RPM probably, and a fully US audience will be closer to a 20, even 25, 30 cent RPM. Now that's how YouTube Shorts work, but you also should understand how YouTube long-form works, since that's a natural progression of YouTube automation or just YouTube in general. And I'll be breaking this down with the actual stats on the channel you're watching this on right now, which is Money Mind Unfiltered. So with your YouTube long-form videos, you don't have swipe away rate anymore, but the metric that you have instead is basically click-through rate. So that's basically of the people who saw your thumbnail and title, what percentage of people decided to click on your video. So this video right here on how much money I made in August was shown to 48,000 people, but only clicked on by 4.9% of them, which led to 3,000 views. And I do like how YouTube does it. They give you an exact funnel of how the impressions led to views, led to watch time. So 44.5K impressions with a 4.9 click-through rate led to 2.2 thousand views, and the average person watched for 3 minutes 37 seconds, which led to 132 watch hours. Another stat that I think is important to look at is your audience by watch behavior. So especially if you're making a personal brand channel, you want people that see your face regularly. So when I look at a video like this, I'm looking at how many people who are watching me are actually returning viewers. And we can see here only 17% of people who watched this video were completely new, but almost all of the people who watch this have already watched me before, which means that they're seeing my face for the second, third, 10th, maybe even 100th time. And if you're trying to build a brand on YouTube and something that can last longer than just one trend on YouTube Shorts, this is what you're really trying to build, a returning viewer base. So that's also a very important metric that I think is worth looking at. Another one that I think is actually pretty underrated is looking at the top traffic sources for any given video. For example, with my video on Snapchat right here, you can see the views went up in a straight line, and this is pretty much all because the analytics show that 70% of the traffic on this video comes from YouTube search. So people are actually looking up this question, and then my video is coming up as the answer to their question. And that's a whole separate video, but that can lead to a ton of views over time rather than your video dying out over time, which can also lead to a lot of money, which again, another video, but yeah. And then of course you have revenue. Now, the way that YouTube long form is calculated is way different than YouTube short form. It's based on niche, country, how many mid-roll ads ran, what advertisers are willing to pay to get in front of your video. So there's a lot of different factors that go into your RPM on YouTube long form. And we could see on average on Money Mind Unfiltered, my revenue per 1,000 views is $2.82, which is lower than a lot of people think. And I think it's because my audience doesn't have as much advertising value, because a lot of them are younger and they're trying to learn how to make money, which means they don't have that much money yet. So yeah, those are almost all the main stats. Now, one last tidbit that I think can be very insane, but is hard to actually get good data on and control for all the factors, is you can do a comparison between two types of content content. So for example, what I could do is I could take all the videos that I've made on this channel that show exactly how much money I've made and group them all into a playlist and compare that with the average on my channel. And then you could click add and you'd get something like this that showed two different things and the exact amount of views that they got, but you could break it down by other metrics. So I might want to see, for example, what's the average percentage viewed comparing these two groups. And based on that data, I might be able to make better informed choices on what types of videos I should make. Again, this is a little hard to do until you have a large sample size of videos and you can actually look at these numbers with confidence and not have confounding variables. So it's hard to make serious conclusions from the data that you have here, but I'm just letting you know that in advanced mode, you can do this, and you can also export the data and get ChatGPT to run like an actual statistical test to tell you if there's significance between the two different groups that you're testing between, and then the average percentage viewed between them. So I'm just letting you know that that's on the table, even though again, there can be some problems with it. Anyways, if this video delivered on the mission of showing how to properly use YouTube analytics, consider leaving a like. And if you don't like being poor, you probably would want to join a community with other people that are actually transparent about the best ways to make money online. And that's where my 20,000 person Discord in the description comes into play, where literally everyone is transparent and trying to help each other make more money. And as always, thank you guys all so much for watching the video. I'll catch you all in the next one, and peace.